Zooba here for liner notes. Today, Elmer Bernstein's re-recording of his soundtrack to the Ten Commandments, where DeMille gave him the opportunity to re-record the score on that beautiful album LP cover with the Moses statue. Now, this is an experiment, my ladies and gentlemen. I have an old Elmer Bernstein interview with Elmer himself talking. I'm trying to capture his affected English accent, not doing the Zooba accent, because Elmer's was more Americanized. So here's a little bit of Elmer speaking, and then I will read some of the liner notes. We'll let him do a line of actual Elmer doing a line from an interview that was conducted with him years ago, and then I shall interject in between that interview, a line from the interview with the real Elmer, and then a line from the liner notes done by Zooba as Elmer. Let's try it. Here's Elmer from the original interview.
The old system was much more compartmentalized. Composers spoke to composers, and cinematographers spoke to cinematographers.
It is a rare opportunity for a composer of film music to be able to adapt his score to make a good record album. That I was afforded this opportunity to work with my themes from the original score and adapt them to modern recording techniques and album concepts so long after its composition is a tribute to the durability of Cecil B. DeMille's last and greatest success.
And we were all considered vital parts of a team. My boss, for instance, my first bosses, were themselves great musicians. I was responsible to Morris Stoloff, who was a superb musician at Columbia, or, of course, with one of the giants of film music, Alfred Newman.
Here in the album are the principal themes of the score: Moses, the Egyptian Queen Nefertiti, the Egyptian court, the Hebrew people, Jethro's daughters, the Red Sea, the Exodus, Sephora, and the burning bush, all newly orchestrated and arranged with a view to listening pleasure and to take advantage of the newest in highest fidelity recording equipment.
Must have been a very exciting time, really, especially for a young, eager composer. It was almost like a tier system. You could start as a player, you could then move up to orchestration and then composing. Because
That's
you were
the
really
interviewer.
Pianist, weren't you?
The important thing was that you had an apprenticeship, and an apprenticeship under the guidance of people you respected. One of the first things that happened was Morris Stoloff, who was the head of the department, called me into the office and he said, one of the things you have to remember about doing music for film that is different from doing music with a concert hall is that people only go to see a film one time.
Cecil B. DeMille is an almost legendary figure in the history of the motion picture. Ever since he embarked upon his most successful career almost 60 years ago, and even 8 years after his death, DeMille's pictures have played every single day of every year somewhere in the world.
And therefore that the language you use must be a language which communicates instantly, because they won't come back a second time to find out what you were doing with the music.
This is a success which stemmed from his uncanny understanding of the public and a relentless drive for the perfection of his concepts. This desire from perfection was reflected in tremendous attention to all the details of a motion picture, making and included an extraordinary understanding of the importance and function of music in a film.
Must have been great to have your own studio orchestra as well.
That was a help, but it was a help in a way one wouldn't necessarily think of today. The help was that they were there, and you didn't have to worry too much about how many sessions something was going to have to take.
For him, the role of the music was that of a storyteller. The theme associated with each character was usually heard when the character appeared on the screen. This concept is not unlike that of Richard Wagner, whom Mr. DeMille greatly admired. It could be argued that film music can and should perform more subtle functions, but the fact of the matter is that DeMille's idea of the use of music was part of the total concept that worked very well for him because of his belief in what he was doing and his thoroughness in its realization. The many millions of people throughout the world who have seen the Ten Commandments in the 10 years since its first release are testimony to the universal appeal of his achievement.
I mean, there is a story, I don't know if it's apocryphal, but there's a story that on one occasion Alfred Newman took an entire week just to record the main title of a movie.
Here, then, is a new impression of the perspective of a year and a half of work on the picture. 2 notebooks full of notes from Mr. DeMille, endless rewrites in the passage of 10 years. If you enjoy it, as I hope you will, it is an honor to the memory of Cecil B. DeMille, since much of his effort and spirit lives in this music.
In those days, there was tremendous respect for what people did. Today, film music is viewed much more as a commercial property.
Let's see how that went. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching Liner Notes. That was an experiment in reading a liner note, trying to facilitate the voice of Elmer Bernstein on my own while interspersed with an old Elmer interview. I hope it was entertaining.